Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, I'm John and welcome back to my channel Musings of a Marine. I hope everybody is safe out there and healthy, and hopefully nobody is having a battle with the COVID, whoever's watching this. But anyways, let's get right into it today. My topic for today is I'm going to do basically a tribute to an American athlete that I think very highly of, and his name is Tim Tebow. You know, when you talk about people in the Philippines, most of their favorite athletes are NBA players. LeBron, Dwayne Wade when he played for the Miami Heat, of course, Curry there and Golden State Warrior fame, he's a big one as well. It all made sense. You know, Kobe and Shaq when they played naturally. But here's the thing. I'd like to ask everybody out there who's watching this, what the heck did any of those guys ever do for the Philippines? As a matter of fact, I can speak of one player who I don't think very highly of by the name of LeBron James, who readily defends the country of China, where, of course, his shoes are made. And China is the biggest enemy that the Philippines have. Now, I'm not going to get into the politics of that. There's a reason why I really don't like China and why all NBA players who are defending that country are complete hypocrites. But let's get back to the original topic here. A lot of Filipinos have never heard of Tim Tebow. He was never an NBA player. He made his fame in American football, won the Heisman Trophy for the University of Florida. That's the highest trophy you can win as a player in college football. Basically says you're the most valuable player in college football. And he won it twice. His team won a national championship as well. Best team in the land. So that's what Tim Tebow did in college. He didn't do all that well in the pros. His skill set wasn't set up for the National Football League. Now he plays minor league baseball for the New York Mets organization. Also, I'd like to mention that the person who succeeded Pia Wurtzbach as Miss Universe, Demi-Leigh Nell Peters, is now Demi-Leigh Nell Peters Tebow, Tim Tebow's wife. So just thought I'd bring that up because I know Filipinos love beauty pageants. But here's the one thing I really want to impress upon and tell you a little bit of a story about Tim Tebow if you don't know who he is. Tim Tebow was born in Makati in Metro Manila. His parents were missionaries on the island of Mindanao. And if you don't know the story, there were some complications during the pregnancy. And the doctors suggested that maybe he be aborted. Now, for those of us who are football fans, the very thought of Tim Tebow being aborted as a baby is disgusting. Abortion is disgusting. But anyways, I can't imagine the world without this good Christian man. And Filipinos should be very, very grateful that her parents decided to have the baby anyway. So they named him Tim, after, of course, St. Timothy, the book of Timothy in the Bible. That's how he got his first name. And he spent his first 5 years living in the Philippines before they moved back to Florida. Tim grew up. He was successful as an athlete, but he never forgot his roots. To this day, he still goes to the Philippines, and he naturally wants to help the people over there. His father, being a missionary, told Tim all kinds of stories, and some of them were downright scary and sad. One day he informed Tim that he now had a sister. Mr. Tebow adopted a daughter into his family. And why? Because that young girl's family was about to throw her into a river and let her drown. Can you imagine that? But they couldn't afford her, and that's probably why they were doing that. But it's still a crying shame just the same. And then there's stories, of course, of Tim's father buying young girls from families who had them up for sale. This is reality, folks. It happens in poor countries. When I was in South Korea, north of Pohang in 1985, there was a farmer there who wanted to sell his daughter to one of us. Of course, there was no way any of us could do it, and we didn't want to. We couldn't even think of such a thing, but that's what happens in poor countries. So, Tim's dad bought some girls. And why? Because he knew if he didn't buy them, they would be sold into sex slavery. And the Tebows have sent up, shelters for these ladies to live, and so they didn't have to go down that path to survive. So this is the foundation Tim Tebow comes from. And it carried over to him his love for the Philippines, his love for his birthplace. All these other athletes might appreciate all the fans that they have in the Philippines. But Tim Tebow, he does more than talk the talk, he walks the walk. If you go into Davao City, there is a hospital there now that bears his name. It opened up in the end of 2014. It's called the Tim Tebow Cure Hospital. Children walk into that hospital with deformities, with broken bones that didn't heal properly because they didn't have a doctor to set it right. Tim Tebow starts this hospital. Those kids go into that hospital with these deformities and they come out A-OK. Now they're back to normal. People whose arms broke and didn't get set right are now set. People that were born with cleft palate with their lips all messed up get fixed there. He speaks of one boy who was born with his feet pointing in the opposite direction of what they were supposed to. And they go in there and they operate on these kids. And then that kid came out there walking with his feet pointing in the right direction. In fact, if you look at the logo on the hospital, it shows a boy and a girl walking, and you can see that one of them has thrown a crutch away. That's what an impact this man has had. So I know it would be very, very difficult, because now he plays minor league baseball, to find a Tim Tebow jersey anywhere in the Philippines. You could find a LeBron James one or a Steph Curry one all day long. But you can't find a Tim Tebow jersey, most likely. And that is a crying shame, because there's not an American athlete who ever did more for that country than he has. Ever. And he still does it today. He's a good Christian man, and that ought to count for something too. Philippines is a very religious country, and how wonderful it is to have a good Christian man doing that for your country, when a lot of the people that Filipinos idolize, a lot of American athletes, are a bunch of immoral charlatans who you would not want your children to grow up to be like. Umpteen kids from umpteen different women. That's a terrible role model. Tim Tebow saved himself for marriage and waited till he found the right woman who had the same Christian values as he did. And it just so happened she is a gorgeous Miss Universe pageant winner. So he made out okay for himself there, but when you're right with God, God's going to bless you with some nice things. And boy, Tim certainly won out on that one, that's for sure. So I just wanted to bring that out to everybody out there who didn't know the story behind Tim Tebow. A lot of people criticize him here in the United States for wearing John 3:16 on his eye black underneath his eyes, for kneeling down and praying after he scored a touchdown. Are you kidding me? The very foundation of the formation of the United States was to get away from religious persecution. And yet you've got people, sick people in the media here in this country that want to criticize Tim Tebow for expressing his religious beliefs. That's sad. It really, really is. So I just thought I'd bring all that up. That's who Tim Tebow is. He is probably going to always be the one American athlete that does more for the Philippines than anybody else in this country. And why not? He was born there. He's lived it. So think about that next time you want to buy a sports jersey for all you Filipinos. Go see if you can find yourself somehow a Tim Tebow jersey. I don't know what team he's going to play for this year. Could be a minor league team for the New York Mets. Maybe he even makes the big team this year. We'll see. Up there in New York. But that's the guy you should be following. That's the guy you should be a fan of. Not some guy who can put a basketball through a hoop. You know, I get it. I understand why Filipinos are big basketball fans. Most people can't afford the equipment over there that it takes to be a baseball player or an American football player. Play basketball, all you need is a metal hoop. You can nail that to a post, and then you get yourself a ball and you're playing. I get it. But none of those guys are ever going to do anything close for the Philippines that Tim Tebow's done. And I thought that should be recognized. So that's my talk for today, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. God bless. Stay safe and healthy. Semper Fi, and we'll see you soon.